so bear with me. Thanks. Audio settings. Stereo audio is off. We don't have to have that. Noise suppression is on. Echo cancellation is on. And now do you hear me? Yes. Yeah, now it's working. Yes, now it's working on Twitter. And I will see here, going back to Facebook. Thanks for your patience. The live video has ended, it says. Is it somewhere? Testing. Now I hear you, myself. It is, again, a bit of lag here. I wanted to test here if it's working with, so I said, the Bluetooth headphones in order to, I don't have to have all kind of cables. And I got some hardware, let's see, a broadcaster. And other users can see that you have joined. Moderate comments. Okay. I hope you hear me. It's a bit strange here with the monitoring. Then I will do this. So, see, Bluetooth is off now, and then we'll see how it's working on Facebook. It's funny how it's this tech thing here. Multi-streaming, Instagram live coming soon, YouTube is on, Twitch is on, Facebook is on, and Twitter is on. And see here. Headphones. Should be on. And I hear me myself now. I wonder what's going on here on Haps. We'll see. I will test here on Twitter again. See how it's working, and then I will do my three things tech, and then I will resume and I will come back. Come back at another time. Now I see myself looking down. Okay, so now it's working. I wonder what it was about the Bluetooth here connection. And I see I've probably started a couple of streams here now. So you hear me maybe in stereo now. Still wondering what's going on with Facebook's. Yeah, it's working, but it's a bit of lag there. So thanks for staying tuned here, staying beer with me. So Three Things Tech, and I will try to do this in the future with upcoming sessions around 15 minutes. As we say in Swedish, akademisk kvart. It could take some time before I start my show. And it's a bit flexible what other things going on. And you can always watch the replay here. Still getting used to this vertical mode instead of horizontal mode. So I have to change with my tripod here in order to get it a bit looking. And now I see it's right 15 or 16 viewers. And this purple heart they have now awards, no awards yet. And as I said to them, the folks at HAPS, thanks them for giving them a shout out during this stream. I look forward when you could have, instead of a purple heart, you could have a gold bar, yellow bar, or a silver coin or something like that. But heart and brain, it's all okay if you integrate them. And it's blinking here, and as I said, I wonder if you could see how long time you have been talking, because that would be a good thing to see. So, and again, the distribution to Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram in the future. And I have a TikTok account, but that's one of the 3 things. I haven't figured it out yet. So, and I've asked them, and Peter answered that LinkedIn sounds interesting. We'll see when it will be on the roadmap for HAPS. In that way, I think it will be more pro-business and pro-professional, and you could use it in a different way or additional way. Again, we're coming back to have time for all these activities on social media, and I will write a new issue of my newsletter, Lyceum Bulletin, where I will talk about that, and I will link to an article by Cal Newport about that and social media. So I have I talked about before, it was here in March 2021, about the schedule, and my 3 words then was observe, analyze, and monetize. And I was thinking having this lift thing called LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. So the lift, so you use your content in different destinations and platforms, you could say. So Monday it will be on Instagram, Tuesday will be a blog, and then Wednesday LinkedIn, Thursday Facebook, Friday Twitter, Saturday podcast, and Sunday newsletter. If you do one thing per day, you have it pretty covered. And then I now started with live streaming, that I have been thinking of having 5 times per week. Tuesday Tech, Free Things Tech on Tuesday in the afternoon around 3 p.m. Central European Time. Wednesday wrapping up how the week have gone so far around 6 p.m. Central European Time, and doing maybe a shout out to somebody or saying how it's going with your productivity system, etc. And then Thursday will be Thor's Hammer Thunder here, and ventilate something. It could be an article in The Economist or other things like that. We'll see here. Mark Moses sent, thanks for sending me a heart there. I appreciate that. It's a bit small on the screen here, so I can't see it. So I have to look at that later on. So thanks again, Mark. You have been a loyal fan here and viewer. Cheers. How are things in California? It's around then. It'll be 11 or 4:30 your time, or 4:30. It's 4:30 here, so it's soon 10:30 your time, a.m. in the morning, Californian time. So that's also I'm playing around with different time zones to see what's working or not working or whatever. The good thing is you could watch the replay and do it later on because it's recorded on apps and then distributed through Facebook and Twitter, Instagram in the future, live streaming there, and Twitch and so on. And then you could YouTube, and then you could watch it later on. So no, it's 7:30 a.m. I'm sorry, Mark. Yeah, you are 9 hours back, or what you call it, and I'm 9 hours ahead of you. It's my co-host Blair in New England that is 6 hours difference. So thanks for the correction. Talking about that, the tech tool that I like is time.is, like Iceland. If you go there, you could check all these time zones. For example, when you're booking a guest on a podcast, it could be good to know the daylight saving time or different time zones. So seeing that. So thanks again, Mark, for a comment there. So, Free Things Tech. So first I wrote there, so are you getting Gettr? Like it's a, how to say, play with words or creating a new word like gathering or get together. And I wonder, like, have you got a tea party? Have you got milk? Do you understand it? Do you get it? Have you downloaded the Gettr app? I'm thinking of doing it, but I have to check a bit more background check of the founder there and the CEO. He have been working with real Trump or real Donald Trump on Twitter. That's no more there, that Twitter account. And it should be so-called an alternative to Twitter. I will not leave Twitter. I will stay on Twitter. I have my issues with Twitter and what they're doing now and then, especially with deplatforming and the freedom of expression. Again, they are free to do whatever they want. And then you could choose an alternative. But when I did the search on Gettr, it was an article where it said that's conservative. And for the record, I'm not a conservative. I'm a liberal, a true liberal, like liberal in the word sense, freedom. And but conservatives shouldn't leave Twitter because still it will be no copycats or an alternative to Twitter in a way. What there will be is this kind of thing, live streaming, virtual reality, things like that will come instead of maybe Twitter. But still Twitter has its own place. Of course, they are copying other platforms with like Twitter Spaces, with Clubhouse and things like that. And probably they are struggling, or how they are going with the being on the stock exchange. I don't know how the stock price is. If you have any information about that, you could share it. They have challenges, I think, but still they are around. And today talking about Twitter, I'll celebrate 15, 5, 10, 15, 15 years on Twitter. So it's my Twitter birthday. So I will tweet about that. I got a notification there on Twitter that it's my 15th birthday on Twitter. When did you start on Twitter, or when did you leave Twitter? That's the thing here with Gettr. Gettr has probably an account on Twitter, but they want you to leave and go to Gettr. And there are other alternatives out there like Parler that I have an account on. And again, shout out to Amy Peacock, chief of how to say policy there. Cheers. Again, it's to learn a new tool and then become active and how much time you have it with it. So we'll see. I just joined Twitter yesterday in order to promote my book. That's great, Mark. Please share your Twitter account or follow me on Twitter, Lyceum Peripatos on Twitter. And that's one thing that I was starting here on Twitter. I can't follow back now because I have hit the Twitter follow limit, and I have asked Twitter about that, but their reasoning is that you could start following lots of tweeps or Twitter users and then unfollow them and then get this following. But I'm serious about this. I don't have bad intentions like robots or spammers. But they have this when you're coming up to 2,000 followers. If you follow 2,000, you have to have like 2,200 followers in order to follow a new tweet or Twitter follower. I don't say that outspoken or directly, but I think it's about 10% more that have to follow you when you hit the roof of 2,000 in order to follow more. So thanks for that, Mark Moses guy. So that's great. Again, you could ask, why do you need to follow, in my case, over 5,000 Twitter followers? And in a way, it is the numbers game. And you could get some connections by sending out a tweet if you have more followers and follow more. But it also to handle it. So it's again, if it's the Dunbar's number, or how many you could, it's like 150 maybe, or is it 15 or 15,000, depending. So I will start doing here on this hashtag, and later on this evening I will have a webinar, a mini study circle about podcasting and all things social, and then we'll probably talk about hashtag, because you could do a hashtag here on Haps, and then it will show up on, for example, your destination on Twitter, so people could search for it and then watch your live streaming or go back and watch the replay. So hashtag is an important thing, and there it's a hashtag called tweet100. So I'm doing that, and now I'm doing a tweet 365. So I will tweet every day for a year, for this year. And what I'm doing here is that I will unfollow Twitter followers in order to follow new ones that are more relevant in a way, but also decluttering, you could say. New year, new things to do. So, and then do a twist with it. So I will publicly say who I will unfollow and see if they react, and if I would add them back on when I have a possibility to do that, and then follow new ones that I should follow for my work, for my passions, interests, projects, etc. Cheers. So that was Gettr. Will you get Gettr? Should I get Gettr? Should I stick with Twitter? Yes, I think so. Sometimes I wonder about Twitter, what they are doing, like this Twitter Spaces that is a copycat of Clubhouse. Is that working or not? I don't know. What I like with Twitter, and what I will write in the next issue of Lyceum Bulletin, I use a tool called Review there, and they got acquired by Twitter. So there under your profile you have a certain number of characters and words that you can use, and then you could have a link. Then under your profile there you could have subscribed to my newsletter. I have a small readership. It's about 20. It's for quality, but I look forward when I could have 200 and then 2,000 and then 20,000, etc. Again, it's this information so-called overload. How many newsletters are you subscribing to, and how many are you reading on a daily basis, or whenever a newsletter is published? That's something you could ask yourself. But I think I have something to offer, and it could be then three things again: new media, business philosophy, and the good life, including tea. Cheers. And it's very easy to set up a newsletter, a new issue, but I have struggled with it with the time. But now I'm really fired up to start this new year and having a weekly newsletter with things that maybe you have missed, and some news and things to ponder and thinking about. Talking about that, a new tool, a new hub that I'm doing from my blog, my podcast, and my newsletter is a digital town hall, I will call it, like a town hall meeting or town square. Parlor is talking about the square, the town square that you're coming to, and raising your opinions, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, having a discussion, a discourse, maybe even a debate. So I like the word town hall, and also system in America when you could go to a town hall meeting and raise your concerns about the project or what the politicians are doing, or the leading people in power. So that's something to think about. Because the word community, it could be a positive community that you voluntarily join, but as an individualist, also community could mean something else. So that's something to think about, how you describe it. You could say also an online forum, but often when you think a forum is like questions and answers only, but it's an interchange, an exchange, a communication, kind of a discussion thread, and so on. And you could put like surveys, polls, some neat things like snackable content also, but also do an active choice and log in to your hub. So that's what I have called t-party-media.heartland.com, and heartland is spelled in a different way. It's HAAARTLAND. So Heartland with 3 A's plus A in land, so 4 A's, triple A plus an A, Heartland. So it's spelled, pronouncing it sound like heart, the Purple Heart, or the heartland in America, like the Midwest and so on. Something to think about there. So there you could go join, and we could continue the conversation. And I will mention that in my latest, in the new upcoming issue of my bulletin, the Lyceum bulletin, my newsletter. So Gettr, and then Twitter, that I will stick to, and then TikTok. I still don't get TikTok. I have an account there, Tea Party Media, you could follow, but I don't know what to do with it yet. And it was said that it will have an integration and linkage to TikTok on apps, and I will again check if it's there. So multi-streaming, they say Instagram live coming soon, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, but I don't see TikTok anymore. I had added it before, but I have to talk to Pablo and Peter at Haps, seeing what their plans are, because I want to create live streaming here, and then they will do automatically get it to TikTok, because I don't think I will do any music video short clip soon to joke with two left feet. But maybe it could be a fun thing to play retro music or something like that. Talking about music, And I'm babbling here now. On May 23rd, cheers, so book your calendar now. May 23rd, I will have a Twitter chat. So using a hashtag, but I will come up to until then. Maybe it will be new media and all things social. That's a long hashtag, but maybe that could be fitting. Talking about pizza coin or Bitcoin Pizza Day, and about music and how to market your music. And hopefully I will have a artist there called Sean Smith Solo on Twitter. And I talked with Jonathan Dahl that are having on John Boy 31, I think, on Twitter, and also Rosalla Music Fan on Twitter. And I had Sean Smith on my guest on my podcast, Ego Netcast, and he has created a song, written a song, and a music video about Bitcoin Pizza Day. And that happened, I think it's now 12 years since it's happened, when it was a hungry programmer, I think, or entrepreneur that paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pies, as you say in America, or whole pizza slices of like 8 slices, so 16 slices together, I think, or if it's even bigger there, over there. So 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. And today it's worth how much? Plenty. So then the cryptocurrency community and people for this kind of technology, blockchain technology, and especially supporters of Bitcoin, they are celebrating this day on May 23rd. So that's 2 days before my birthday, May 25th. Maybe that's some could celebrate with sending a heart or a high five or thumbs up, or maybe a Bitcoin, or parts of a Bitcoin called Satoshi, and that's Satoshi stream. And that's like if you take a Bitcoin and then divide it 100 million times, so it's bits of pieces or small cents or ören in Swedish that you could stream by listening to a podcast application, 2.0 application on a podcast. For example, on the Secular Foxhole podcast, you could listen there and use an application that you find on podcastindex.org and search for apps, new podcast applications. And there you could then stream Satoshis, parts of Bitcoins, in order to support our work and our show. And it's very neat things what you can do with this for now and probably in the future, how they will develop it. So you could then stream for a certain amount of time, or you could do like here on Haps, a special heart, pushing it like doing a boost. And then you could designate or link that episode, for example, with a special guest, that you will give the guest a certain amount or percentage of the streaming, but revenue will come your way. Your co-host, the jingle maker, that creating the jingle or the artwork, or doing somebody in the production or workflow of a podcast. Right now, according to podcastindex.org, it's 4 million podcasts out there. 4 million. And podcasting has been around for like 2004. I started 2006. So 4 million podcasts out there. Maybe we could say, to make it easy, 500,000 are active. And then you have, of course, a small percentage, like a couple thousands of podcasts out there that have a listenership of a huge amount, like the guy Adam Curry and Dvorak that have a podcast called No Agenda Podcast, and that have created this podcast index together with others, programmers and so on. So that's something to think about. And right now, it's like 2,000 podcasters out there that are using this podcasting 2.0 initiative. But I see that for the future, and that's something here, my streaming, to look into the future, the crystal ball, and see what's going on. And that has a linkage to, as an ending note here. And again, I wonder how long I've been babbling for. But the ending note that about freedom of expression, this kind of internal censorship or deplatforming or kind of filter bubble. So that's why new alternatives are popping up. And in the podcasting sphere, you have a guy like Joe Rogan that's very controversial. And I will listen. He had Adam Curry now as a guest in episode 1760. And I started listening to that on because I got a hat tip or a heads up through a service I called Podchaser that I use, showing what I'm working with podcasting, all podcasts that I'm involved in and working with. And you could do your top 8 list. You could follow guests and names and other fellow podcasters. So I got a heads up that Adam Curry is now a guest on a podcast. And then it was Joe Rogan show. And I started to listen to it, and when I saw it was exclusive material, so it was only 30 seconds. So this is giving case of point. It's more power to Joe Rogan, and he's laughing the whole way to the bank. He got $100 million to getting exclusive for Spotify, so more power to him. But he have stirred up commotions and things, and people who want to boo him off Spotify now and others. So they probably have some, how to say, conundrum and thinking about this. But still, in one way, it's driving lots of traffic, and people will end up maybe testing Spotify's music service because that's the main core of Spotify. Subscribing to for $10 a month. I'm an Apple fanboy, so I'm using Apple Music. But again, Adam Curry, he was in a way promoting this, generating this or creating, you could say, back in the day, Apple iTunes. And even if I'm an Apple fanboy, now they are in a way starting to corner the market because they're the biggest player so far, even if Spotify have moved up as the second one, you could say, and sometimes they say they're even bigger, at least on Android, that's for sure. If they starting doing all these exclusive deals and so on, and you can't listen to a certain podcast on your choice of podcast player, what do you think about that? Again, I'm all for it. If it's a private company, they could do whatever they want to do. But if we start to see maybe that deplatforming and filter bubbles, and you don't show up as others are doing in the stream, what do you think about that? And that's why I again like the podcastindex.org and podcasting 2.0 initiative, because with that, if you have your RSS feed, your rich site summary or really simple syndication feed, it's hard for you to get stopped or banned or deplatformed or censored. And I will not mention any name, but one of the biggest, very controversial conspiracy theorists out there, have his own video show and so on. He got banned and booed and deplatformed on YouTube, but he's still around in podcasting. Then, of course, it's the podcasting host and sound hotel, you could say, like web hotel, but that could take the decision that they don't want to have that kind of material on their servers. And it's up to them to decide. But if you have your RSS feed and put it up there, you have a chance to continue with your message, whatever it is. In a way, that's a good thing. So, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and also to take consequences of what you are saying and doing. So that, I say cheers, and talk to you soon again. On Wednesday, I say Wednesday wrap, Thursday towards Hammer at 9 a.m. Central European Time, probably, and Friday around 6 p.m. Then it will be Thank, and you know I'm a secular individual, so thank God it's Friday, like the restaurant chain, and follow Friday, and so on. preparing for a weekend. And then on Saturday, and that is 6 p.m. and Saturday is around noonish time. So Saturday siesta, something about what's going on the weekend. So I'm planning to do this because now I see it's working here with this vertical thing, and hopefully it sounds good, even with the simple, as I said, a lavalier mic here from Röde. And if you want to support me for getting new equipment like lavalier, this lavalier, Röde mic, but the plus would be nice to have. And I'm also thinking about this lighting. Here I have this prep light to job. Okay, see this. But also it could be nice with a ring light. And of course, sooner or later to upgrade my phone. I have now a 6S Plus iPhone. It's old, but I'm using that because I could keep putting in a microphone. This is IK Multimedia iRecast that I'm using when I'm doing long distance recording with service called Ringer. So I like the simplicity and how it's good. It sounds good. It's all okay. And then I could use editing and post-production service called Alitu, and it will sound good in your simple headphones like this. Costs you are 10, costs like 10, 20, 30 bucks. And I use this to monitoring in order to, so there's no microphone on it. So it's very simple. And that you could be maybe listening on a podcast with your headset, the earbuds on a tram or on a bus or whatever. And yeah, that's the thing. But I have some ideas about that also, how to get new equipment and gear regarding monitoring and headphones, but also microphones for live streaming, but also for podcasting. So I would reach out to a brand where I've been in contact with, that I know have as dealership or agency for a very good brand. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, so that's for now. Free things tech. Are you getting Gettr, alternative Twitter? Or are you sticking with Twitter? Or as like Mark Moses, joining Twitter now so he could promote his book? And what's about TikTok? And I will talk with the folks at HAPS with the integration there and the linkage to TikTok in the future. And if you have any tips as a podcaster how I could use TikTok, I'm more than welcome to reach out to me and give me advice and so on. Again, it's the time and how much time you spend on social media and what you could do and what you get your return on investment and engagement on this. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and talk to you soon again. So I have to now prepare soon for this webinar that I will have about podcasting, Twitter, and all things social. So cheerio, take care, and talk soon again.